My name is Jessica Ward, and I'm the CEO of Ward & Brown General Agency, and I'm really delighted to be here. Dustin, thank you so much, and it's just an honor to meet everybody here, and Mark, the co-host, and I've seen some of you before at the Vatican. We've had the pleasure of that, and Davos, and it's been a journey. So just thank you, and a big thanks to everyone behind the scenes. It's not easy to put this on. So a round of applause for everybody just supporting the staff. So thank you. I appreciate that. So today I'm honored to get to speak to you about the importance of self-care and how it impacts your leadership style. You know, leadership, I always say, begins with oneself first. You know, you're the leader of your own life, and it's how you show up. It's your ways of being to determine what type of leader you're going to be, or if you're even going to be in a leadership role or hold one long enough to be successful. And to be a great leader, you have to possess many qualities. But a few of my favorite are, first one is integrity, and then dedication, drive, and then passion. Passion is a phenomenal superhuman power because it's the thing that creates inspiration for all of us. It truly does, both in personal and professional lives. And to keep your passion going, the passion that we all had when we were younger, to keep that alive and to keep the zest, it's not always easy. It's not always easy because we do so much, which is part of the self-care program I'm about to talk about. But it's just to keep your passion and drive going in order to inspire people and inspire yourself. You have to have the energy to do that because you need energy to operate at full mental capacity. Because I don't know about you, raise your hand. When you're depleted, you're just depleted. You know, it's really hard. It's hard to be as creative. It's hard to finish. Not as hard to be creative, but the follow through and the drive and passion we have when we're fully recharged it's remarkably different, at least for me. And so the best way to get this energy back is to truly unplug and recharge. And to do so, in short, you have to have a great self-care plan. Because for me, if I'm not okay, no one around me is okay. And that's, put the oxygen mask on first, right? You have to have a self-care plan. And I'm going to share some stories with you because it was a harsh reminder that I was not following my own. And that's okay because we're human beings. And we're reminded that we're not superhuman, not superwoman. We are actually human beings, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to not be perfect, but we have to continue to change and evolve. And if you can't change your mind on anything, you can't change anything at all. So I recently just got back from Portugal. My husband took me. It was a wedding out in Portugal, and we went to Spain. Romantic part for the first week because we're having our 12-year anniversary coming up on Sunday. We have 2 kids, as Dustin said. My daughter's getting ready to be 10. My daughter's getting ready to be 10. My son is 11. And it was it was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles Part 2 sequel. That's kind of what it felt like. But, losing your luggage for 6 days and so many things happened. Then it reminded me of this great quote by Maya Angelou. You can learn a lot about somebody especially a partner, on a rainy day with tangled holiday lights and lost luggage. And what I learned was not so much about my spouse because he's got his after 4 days. I got mine after 6. I learned a lot about myself, and I found myself being more irritable and frustrated than I should have been. And that was, to me, I just wasn't taking enough time for just me to just focus on me. And one of the things that is interesting is that, raise your hand for those of you that treat yourself the same way you treat those you love the most. Not a lot. No, I mean, like if you treat, for example, like raise your hand if you treat yourself the same and better. I mean, one thing, but I would say the same. So for me, in my experience, and many people I know, is that we have people that we love. We always put them first. We never give ourselves grace. We always take care of everybody else, and we don't ever take the time out to actually focus on ourselves. We just don't. And it's so incredible because we have so much to give and offer and to help, and we love to give. And that's part of my big issue is I love to say yes. I love to help because I can. Well, what's happening is I end up overcommitting, and I don't go back on my word when I commit. I can't, but then I'm finding out, okay, what did I commit to? What's going on? And then I find myself overwhelmed. But how many, I'll start here. How many of you actually have your own self-care plan that takes care of just you? Raise your hand. Right? I know Dustin asked this before, but I wasn't up here. So it's fascinating how many people don't do this. And there's a couple of different ways to do this. The first thing would be to not fill up your calendar so much and actually start saying no. It's okay to say no. I mean, like, it's hard for me to say no because I always want to help the staff and friends and family. But if you got to block up your calendar, because if you don't fill up your time, somebody else will for you. And so block out your calendar and make agreements. This is complete block time. And then when I say block out your calendar, you really have to do something with it. Not like, oh, I'll use this time to go finish a project that I was not going to do, which I famously have done to myself. So no one's going to give you your time back. You have to ask for it. One of the things that I love to do for myself is that I have a great business coach, life coach, and once a quarter, I go out and we do some camping. I'm gone and I completely unplug, no technology, nothing. And I absolutely love it. And to do so, I make agreements with my staff and with my family saying, hey, I'm going to be off the grid. I'm putting the phone down completely, putting it away. And I'll do one more raise of hands. When's the last time any of you were able to put the phone down, be completely off the grid for 24 hours? That's awesome. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And that's great. And that's the hardest thing, but we have to make agreements to do this. And it's okay to make agreements to do this. I mean, of course it's okay, but there's expectations versus agreements. And so an agreement is actually just, having these negotiations and saying, look, I'm going to be gone and this is going to be acceptable, but you get to have your time. You get to actually breathe and just remind yourself what life is all about. As we heard earlier, it's like there's so many things that are happening in this world right now. There's so much ego out there that it's like the ungettable get. I want more, more, more. And I think these people just forgot what it is about humanity. They don't take any time to just get away from technology and just be at one, be at peace. For me, be at peace with God, with spirit, nature. And that brings me back. And I wish we could get more of that. But that works for me. That's what I actually enjoy. So, and I'm not perfect at my self-care plan. I'm getting better at it, especially as my children are getting older. And so it's, I'm a human being. I'll be vulnerable and let you know. I don't always feel like the best mom because I have to go do a bunch of things. I'm a working mother. And so I'm trying to balance out. And it's a balance act, but it always is changing. You're not changing, you're not evolving. So it's going to always have to change and putting a priority for your children. And kids grow up fast, right? But I guess I'm sharing this with you because as much as I preach this, like I sometimes fail at it. And I know when I'm failing, when I'm becoming irritable, I'm like, okay, something's wrong. You get too busy. I say yes too much. I'm like, this is not where I need to be. This is not my intention in life. This is not what I'm trying to create in life at all. And so, one of my passions outside of work is I love to mentor females going into the workforce. It's so important to me what's happening with the younger generation and, trying to, at least some of them can have great conversations. Some of them have been plugged in. And so I'm trying to support them as they go into the workforce because there's a lot of things out there that are not changing. Unfortunately, and it's going to take some time, but that's what I love to do, offer support. But when you can't even follow your passion, what you love to do, that's a big reminder for self-care. And you have to really know oneself, know thyself to figure that out. I'm getting a time minute. I got 2 minutes left. So, what we do on a daily basis impacts several people along the way. Yeah. How we feel, how we show up impacts everybody, but, especially with your staff, you are responsible, the greatest responsibility ever. You're taking care of these people, their livelihoods. You're putting food on their table. And if you're not showing up as a great leader, they're going to see this. They're 100% going to see this. And as much as we all think we're walking around smiling and faking it, well, guess what? It's probably because you haven't gone outside your normal circle to get real feedback. You get comfortable in this area. And so it's just how you show up matters and people can actually see. And I went through an exercise once and it was really harsh and I thought I was faking it really good, but it comes from within. Happiness comes from within. I love to say it's how you do anything is how you do everything. And you put passion into this and integrity. And I do encourage those of you to try to maybe get some feedback, do an interesting class with strangers, because it's amazing how you actually show up. So the jam, that's my labor of love. I get to do that. If I'm not camping, I get to go do this while I'm at home with the family. So I'm here at the house, but I'm measuring and thinking, and that's my zen. I love that. And also the dishes, which is funny because no one wants to do dishes. So I'm always left alone. That's always been a peaceful place for me. But self-care takes courage. It requires effort and it requires consistency. And it's about prioritizing your well-being and making time for yourself. And ultimately it comes down to what type of leader do you want to be? Because this all impacts this. And, a true gift, to lead a life that is both successful and fulfilling. And success, I feel, is truly measured by contentment. There's somebody had said to me once, you can't take a hearse with you behind your, a U-Haul behind your hearse. And so it's like, okay, great. Did you enjoy the ride? Are you content? Well, yes. And so making sure you're happy and content starts with oneself, and, having what you want, and it's really wanting what you have. That's really important too. So I encourage everyone to do the self-care plan. And I think it's important. And I think your staff and your loved ones and kids, I think they'll really appreciate it. And you can encourage them to actually take care of yourself, and it's okay. It's okay to actually it's okay to take a stand for yourself. It's required. And when your heart and mind are aligned to do the right thing, that's when the elixir and the magic happens. So I think it's a wonderful thing to teach our children, to have the courage to say, hey, look, I need help. It's okay. And so I believe I'm at time, and I just want to say thank you. There's so many different ways I could have taken this, but I'm excited for you to try the jam, enjoy it. And I've made this for 15 years. I've made this at one time, like 150 people in operations, and that was a much bigger jar. But it's fun for me, and I love it. So blessings on the journey. It's an honor to be here, and thank you.